I have a 2014 Unity with this Kenwood head unit, and I want to pull it so I can tap off of the video feed and install a separate monitor up here on the dash. So the way to do that is you have to pry out this piece to expose. You can just see those screws. But anyway, so I'm going to wiggle all this out and get this trim piece out so I can pop this, get to the screw so I can remove the head unit. There you go. And you buy these little plastic, I'll put links to this in the description, these little plastic trim removing tools. And then there's just 4 screws holding the head unit in, and it will pull right out if I remember correctly. I've done this one time, but the connector that I have for my old video screen, it's the wrong connector for the more high quality picture video monitors these days, so I've got to pull that and see if I can get to the connections. So I'll continue. Okay, I'm going to pull a lot of things off my up in the cab because I want to redo some things. I have a Kenwood system. This is for our 2014 Unity. I have the original things that I can stick in to release the Kenwood. But first thing I want to do is I want to pull this front fascia panel off. And the way you do that is you simply just pop it off. So you just basically go around and pop it loose. These nice little plastic pry tools. So I will go around and pop this off. I need 2 hands. Anyway, I'll go around and pop that off. There's going to be a clip. I think it's right here. A wire clipped in. So you unclip that. And then you can remove this whole panel. I'll come back and show you. All right, so I have the panel freed up. And then you just pull off this little wire clip. Again, I need 2 hands. So anyway, you just pop this off, and then this whole panel comes off free. And then the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be removing this entire side panel. So from here all the way up and around. And to do that, you remove these screws. And there's one down on the bottom. And then you basically slide it back. But I'll come back and show you that. Okay, so I already got this one done. And you can see how the clips are. So basically, what you're doing is you are holding up here, right up at the top of the vent, right there, and you pull back. So you're sliding all these little J-shaped clips straight back to get them out, and then the bottom part just snaps off. What I found works best is if you have one hand up here on this grill, and then you use another hand down here right here where you can get your finger in and pull it, and then the whole thing just pops out. So I'll get, next thing I'm going to take out is this box on the top. And to do that, you take off these 2 screws, and then there's 2 screws right back here on either side, and then this whole box comes out. The reason I'm removing this box is I had run this wire to power a 10-inch monitor that I had my rear view and side view cameras that came with my 2014 LTV. But I wanted a bigger screen because, you know, this screen is too tiny. Anyway, so I want to replace that screen with a little higher quality screen, since I am replacing the rear view camera with a higher quality camera. Anyway, so then this just lifts out. Oh, you have to pop off the speaker cover. And then this comes off. And then this whole box lifts out. And I can take my wire out. And that's done. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you remove the box. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I want to get down here to my radio, Kenwood radio wiring. So I'll get on with pulling the radio. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these screws out. All the screws that are in this Mercedes dash are all T-25 Torx. So I'm going to remove these screws so I can pull out this vent and have access this way, because I'm going to be installing a USB plug on either side. A USB outlet on either side, so I can power my new monitor and I can power my new little large screen speedometer. So I'll get on with that. Okay, so to remove this, you have 2 screws. You have a screw up here, and then you have a screw over here. But you need to take this dash screw out, which allows you to move this a little bit to get your screwdriver in there to that screw. And then this just lifts out because it basically is just plugged in to that vent. So now you got a nice big hole, so you can see what you're doing. And like I said, I'm going to be drilling through on this side, which is going to come out over here, so I can put a USB port over here, and then of course a USB port on this wall coming out on this side. And then I also have to drill through the box to have the corresponding hole for the USB outlet as well. Okay, so I will get on with that. I will use my little doohickeys, which go right in these slots. There's little slots. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little slot right here. And these just push in. And that allows you, that releases I need 2 hands. But anyway, these release the catches in there, so I can pull this whole head unit. I can pull the whole head unit out and have a nice big hole for that. I needed more room to stick my hand in, so I actually pulled this piece off of there. It just snaps in. So now I have even more room to get in here. and pull the radio out. And you can see I already have it pulled back and released. So now I can pull that out and get to my original wiring. All right, I've got my radio pulled out. I've my original wiring where I added my my extra monitor is there, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. First off, first thing I want to do is I want to get to wiring my USB outlets. So I'll get my drills and USBs and get on with them. Okay, I've got my power wires disconnected and this all taped back up. So basically, this is all ready to go. And I remember, I don't need any additional power wires for my new monitor because that's why I installed that USB outlet up there for the power for it. So the only really thing I need is the video output, my camera output, so I can plug it in to the input of the new monitor. Okay, I bought these really nice lighted USB outlets, and they come with fused wiring, so all that's really nice and easy for running it down to the fuse panel where I'm going to get my power. So I will get on with drilling my holes and test fitting it. Used a large taper head drill bit and I drilled my hole. I decided to put it in the bottom of my compartment, so I just drilled a hole, put it in, tighten the nut around it. So it's just an easy matter of clipping my wires to those connectors and running them down to the fuse box. All right, I got my hole drilled right down here. And now all I have to do is put my wires down and put my nut underneath and tighten it down. So I'll get on with that. I've got that in. You now have something plugged into it just to test it out. And now I still have to wire it up. You might be able to see. Oh, yeah. Here's the wiring coming down. I got plenty of clearance. And I will run it, back behind this panel, but I've just pulled it out here for now. All right, my top panel is done, and I can go ahead and put that back on. But first, I want to do the wiring for my new monitor. So I will come back and show you what I'm doing there. All right, here is the back of my radio. And I had originally spliced plus and minus onto the wire to run my separate monitor. But the most significant thing is I needed to split the camera view signal that was coming into the radio. And originally it was this white connector and it was plugged right here. And that's the rear view and side view camera input into this Kenwood head unit. So you could, it would switch, if you had it in reverse, it would show you the rear view. If you had your signals on, it shows you the left or the right camera, side camera. So what I did is I bought this Y splitter, and I could only buy one that had all female in, so I had to buy a male coupler so I could connect these two together. So I have the original input here, and then it splits it off and sends it still into the unit. So I still have those camera views, but then to this other side, it's split off. So this is another feed, which I used to connect to a monitor that sat on my dash. And because the left and right and rear view switching feature isn't, it doesn't have anything to do with that video input, by splitting it off, I still have that on my monitor. So whenever I put it in reverse, the monitor shows the rear view. Whenever I use the left and right turn signals, it flips to whichever side camera view it should be on. So it's very nice. And then I can add a nice, much larger monitor that sits on the dash and that I can actually see when I'm driving. So I'm going to disconnect all this old stuff and run the new feed for the, basically it's just another, I forget what these things are called, RCA cable, something like that. Anyway, so I just run another RCA cable up to the top, up here, coming out of this, and then I'll do the power connection for the new monitor, and then I'll be able to start putting all this back together. Okay, I used one of my female to female couplers to add another cable that I pulled up through, and I can now hook that to my monitor. So I'm going to tape that around like I did this one, so the end, you don't have to worry about anything pulling apart while because there's a lot of vibration when you're driving. All right, I got that back in. I've got my box back in. I've got my USB. I've got my video cable pulled through, or my camera's cable pulled through. So I'm done with that. I've pulled my 2 new USB wires down and through the bottom. I disconnected, I pulled my fuse out of number 13. Let's see, I don't think you can you see it says 13? Yeah, okay. And so here it is. I was using a 15 amp fuse. 15 amp is what was in there. And then have the fuse added another 15 amp so I can get a 15 amp power to this wire. So I'll be hooking up those two to this. Each of those wires are fused, so I can hook both those up to this and plug this back in and have power for my USBs. I've removed all my old Rexing camera stuff. Now all I need to do once I hook up that power is start running my Wolfbox camera. So I'll get on with that, or finish this up and then get on with that. Okay, I took this panel off right here. There was 2 screws, one that went, oh no, there was just 1 screw. This one right there, and then this just pops off, and then this just pops off. And here you can see behind this panel there's a nice place for grounding. And here's my new monitor. Looks great. There's my Wolfbox camera, which I tell you how to do that in another video, but it all looks very good.